Gen Z is fragile, or so the boomers say, and unfortunately, they're kind of right. We have overwhelming stress and the worst mental health of any generation. According to boomers, we're ridiculously sensitive. We also drink less than any other generation, have absurd and risk-averse dating norms, and apparently we don't even know how to party. This is always framed as some generational deficiency, that Gen Z is particularly coddled by our parents or ruined by technology, so we don't behave as proper economic units in our geriatric, wealth-extracting society. But what boomers don't know is that when they mock an anxious Gen Zer, they're looking at a prisoner doing life in the most crushingly surveilled penitentiary ever created by man. It's invisible to older generations, but most of Gen Z's problems come from spending our lives trapped in a digital panopticon, which unopposed will ravage all of human culture. In 1791, a British utilitarian named Jeremy Bentham wrote a book called Panopticon, or The Inspection House. Within, he created a design for a prison that was the first of its kind, one that generated neurosis to force prisoners into good behavior. The Panopticon was built in a rotunda, with each cell on the outer wall. In the center, a guard tower can view every cell, and every prisoner in full. The real innovation of this design, though, was that the guards in the tower couldn't be seen from the outside, so the prisoner can never know if he is or isn't being watched. This produces self-policing behavior, because he must act as if he's under observation at all times. The prisoners become their own warden. But Bentham's plans didn't stop with prisons. He imagined the Panopticon implemented not just in penitentiaries, but also workhouses, factories, and even schools. His belief was that the unending surveillance gave him power of mind over mind, which extended beyond simply stopping misbehavior. He thought surveillance could enforce morality. His utilitarian worldview didn't distinguish between enforced behavior and internal belief. If societal planners could enforce moral rules perfectly, to Bentham's mind, it was indistinguishable from a perfectly moral society. Do you see where this is going? In the 21st century, the Panopticon no longer needs to be built out of concrete and iron. The smartphone enables a completely digital Panopticon. The phone records conversations, experiences, and reality, and allows those to be observed by third parties. The phone is the civilizational split, the breaking point between the Zoomer generation and all others. The smartphone's omnipresence during adolescence and younger has created a social structure unique to our generation. But what separates the phone from a security camera, and even Bentham's Panopticon, is that you using your phone makes you both the observed and the observer. You police your own behavior because you're being observed, and you police others' behavior simply by their knowledge that you're observing them. Story notifications, read receipts, location pins, all but the most careful of us exist in this web of mutual surveillance. This is most obvious in social media, but the phenomenon stretches into every aspect of Zoomers' lives. We've seen these waves of cancel culture and Google Doc exposés describing everything from the most heinous behavior to small interpersonal slights. This culture in which Zoomers are steeped means that all interpersonal interactions, digital or not, are mediated through the Panopticon. Every interaction exists in a quantum superposition between private and public. Making a private interaction public used to be barred by standards such as journalistic interest, or the story would be relegated to local gossip. This is no longer true. Making an exposé, Twitlonger, or Google Doc is free, easy, and has no such journalistic standards. Further, there are frequent incentives to do so, such as gaining social capital or removing an enemy from a job, school, or community. Like a prisoner in the Panopticon, you don't know if an interaction is being observed until it's too late. A Zoomer's life is always on camera, so much so that many of us won't behave outside of Panopticon norms even when totally alone. The surveillance has become completely internalized. So what behavior does this system incentivize? Most prominently, social withdrawal. If every action is subject to crushing surveillance and the possibility of worldwide scrutiny, make as few actions and maintain as few relationships as possible. Bentham thought this would produce moral harmony, but in reality, it creates purity spirals. Within the Panopticon, the only acceptable use of power is for observers to punish those that behave outside of ever-tightening norms. An example of this is the rapidly changing vocabulary of our newspeak. Policing the frequent and arbitrary change of accepted terminology gives otherwise weak people complete license to utilize whatever power is at their disposal. Exercising power and agency are basic human needs, and every outlet not within the Panopticon's frame is suppressed. This system rewards petty tyrant loyalists by giving them exclusive access to this self-actualization. This seems political, but it's really not. The purity spiral has tended left for the past few decades, but this system of surveillance and social scorn has been utilized to the right, as it was in McCarthyism and the Satanic Panic. They just had less technology to exercise total control. We are haunted by the need for an outer consensus of technology and experience that would raise our communal lives to the level of a worldwide consensus. In the modern age, our behavior doesn't just need to be acceptable within our social circle, but needs to be above criticism from everybody on Twitter, on the internet, and in the world. There's no wonder McLuhan called this the age of anxiety. So is this it? Has the invention of the smartphone doomed us all? There's a light at the end of the tunnel. The most objectionable people in Gen Z are the ones who will save us all. If you thought I was shitting on Clavicular in my last video, know that he is one of these people. There are many others in this lane of content creator that I won't mention by name, but you can guess. Ironically, they frequently use the metaphor of breaking free from the Matrix, and that is the truth, just not in the way they mean it. Utterly destroying your online footprint and most of your fair weather relationships is the only way to be free. Once you're such an odious person that you become systemically rejected, then the global scrutiny is a lost game. You can finally forego the world's opinion and only care about the true social circle you maintain. This is a much more natural state of living. It is supremely unnatural to worry about what anons on the internet say, but it is critically important to survival to care what your tribe thinks of you. And again, I'll remind you that this is not about any particular politics. The constant surveillance of the Panopticon only matters because of the latent threat of punishment. These guys are getting away with all sorts of behavior that brings the harshest punishments the Panopticon can't deliver. But not only are they taking the hits, they're thriving. The provocateurs constantly demonstrate the Panopticon's impotence. They are the vanguards emboldening average people to breathe freely. So what if Gen Z is fragile? It's the dominant adaptation to our technologically mediated reality that is without evolutionary precedent. How would any generation fare in these circumstances? Frankly, I think we're doing pretty good.